Women who dated older men as teenagers that now realize they were predators. What's your story? My mother found older boys to introduce me to when I was 1516. She would take me to coffee shops or sneak me into bars and charm her way with men in their 20s only to introduce them to me. I would date them, and she would get chores done around the house that she needed. Painted kitchen, fixed cabinets, roof work, stuff like that. I remember my best friend's mom trying to warn me and explain to me why it was wrong of my mother to let her 15-year-old date 25-year-olds, but I just thought I was really cool. It wasn't until one of them found me online and reached out a few years ago, that I realized what she'd actually been doing all that time. And of course, none of these guys knew what the duck they were doing, so the house looked like shit anyways. He was my guidance counselor. I didn't realize how creepy he was until he proposed. The whole thing was ducked. I had sex with a 28-year-old when I was 13 and thought it was perfectly normal. He always complimented me, bought me stuff, and drove me places when I needed a ride. Looking back now, I can't believe I didn't realize how ducked up that was. To this day he can't find someone to date that's his age. I'm 24 now, from what I heard from rumors. Teresa, scumbag in our town that dates all the town's 16-year-olds. My husband got beaten up by him for protecting scumbag's girlfriend from him. She was a classmate of his. Douchebag broke my husband's rib and kicked him on the ground. Luckily he got a short jail sentence and a 3-year restraining order. My husband felt terrible when it happened because we'd just started dating long distance, and he thought it sounded like a weird catfishing story. Guy is 35 now and still dating girls who don't know any better. Duck you, Chris, you asshole. I'm sorry to hear that about your husband. I hope he's doing well now. He's doing great. That rib sometimes aches but otherwise is okay. Unfortunately ribs never heal quite right. Well, no wonder my ribs still hurt years after I cracked them. As a father, the comments scare the shit out of me. I was 11 and he was 23. We didn't date, he had a girlfriend, but he would sext me and send me nudes. Eventually I realized it was strange and blocked him. Didn't tell anyone about it. I sometimes wonder if it's impacted me more than I would care to admit. I was 15 with a 21-year-old. He hung around youth group and made all us younger girls feel special with his attention. I was shy and quiet, didn't stand out much, but obviously wanted the special attention that all the prettier, peppier girls got. He wasn't interested until he found out my mom worked nights and I was home alone. We ended up getting into a pretty heated argument and split when, 2 weeks in, I still hadn't let him come over because I was terrified of what my mom would do if she knew I'd had anyone over while she was gone. Glad you stood up to him, but kudos to your mom for raising you right. She ruled with what I thought, at the time, was an unfair iron fist. The older I've grown, the more appreciative I've been. When I was younger, my parents monitored everything I posted online. I could search for whatever. Even for a simple Facebook comment, I had to get their approval. Now, I'm happy that whatever cringy thing I may have wanted to post at 10 years old isn't readily available on the internet. Edit for clarity, I got Facebook when I was 10, but I had internet freedom by the time I was 12 or 13. I was 15 and met a 30-year-old who was an older brother of a boy I met in group therapy. He used to tell me how complicated and mature I was, lol, so cliche. I'm now 24 and seeing or interacting with anyone who is 15 makes me sick. I felt so old then, but it's insane now how obvious to me that people that age are children. I feel the same way. I'm in shock whenever I see a 16-year-old because they're just so young. I'm 32 now, same age as the man that took advantage of me. I was 13 with a 22-year-old boyfriend. He made me feel special, grown up. My friends were all jealous, tbh he was hot. A predator but a solid 1010, we met on Xbox Live, those were the days, and started a relationship. I was in my ugly duckling phase, so was drawn into it by the attention. No boys my own age seemed interested in me. I was bullied a bit and it was nice for a good-looking, older boy to think I was pretty. He slowly pressured me into sex, started with pushing me into sexual acts on webcam, to oral, then full sex. He always insisted on filming everything because he loved me so much he wanted to only use our videos as porn. What I wasn't aware of was the fact he was showing all his friends and they made bets on how quickly he could get me to do something else. Whenever I pushed back, he always said, if I wanted to date a man I needed to act like a woman, otherwise he would find a girl more willing to have a proper relationship with him. He then tried to pressure me into sleeping with his friends, started with a threesome, him included, then one night he asked me to just sleep with his friend. I saw his friend give him money, which is when I realized this whole thing was a lie and left. Wow, I'm so sorry that happened to you. I hope you're doing well now. Oh yeah, I'm fine now. Went through a rough patch after this where I relied on sex to prove my self-worth, but snapped out of that at 15 and realized I needed help. A few years of therapy later, I was back on track. Smile. Holy shit, I'm struggling to grasp these ages you're stating. Can't imagine dealing with stuff like that at those ages. Well done for getting through it. It's so weird how some people can get exposed to shit like that while the rest of us walk around ignorant. I met a dude on Adult Swim's forums back when I was around 12. He was 24 and was nice to me. Things always seemed hinky to me even from the beginning, but I had no friends in real life and was definitely in an ugly duckling place, so I figured that if this is who is going to pay attention to me, so be it. He would tell me the things he wanted to do to me and eventually sent me a hideously low-res picture of his dick, and all I remember is trying to laugh it off and said I thought he sent me a picture of a sock. Eventually, he started asking that if we met in person if he could tie me up and take nudes of me. He started talking about buying a plane ticket to visit me and for my address, and I guess I finally had a bad enough gut feeling and didn't go through with it. My family eventually found out about us talking and it was a huge deal. I was rightfully banned from the internet for a while, not that it mattered much, because I wound up meeting another awful dude older than me, but this one was locally grown. Lol. Jesus Christ, this same exact thing happened to me. The way my parents found out was because he ordered me a Ducking Hollister hoodie and mailed it to my house. I gave him my address. He was 33 and I was 12. In true pedo fashion, my old guy sent me all my favorite candy via mail. I was young enough that I told my parents it was from my pen pal at Girl Scout camp. I met him on the Words with Friends app and he was maybe 30. It's weird how common men try to talk to women on the Words with Friends app. I mean, it's not like Words W Friends is Tinder for Scrabble enthusiasts or anything, but encountering creepy internet men is not what I expected when I downloaded the app. I've had like 6 or so men creepily start up a conversation with me and it's like, broskies, I just wanted to play Scrabble. I had an older woman try to seduce me on there when I was 17. We'd spend time talking and playing and I always felt awkward as a teenager, but it never went beyond minor sexting. But she also wrote me the first love poem I ever received as a way of saying goodbye when I told her I wasn't comfortable talking with her anymore. Words with Friends is wild. I was 16, a school teacher of 30 years used to touch me and text me stuff. I didn't really realize it was bad until some years later when he married a girl from my class. I didn't tell anyone because I was scared that people would think that it was my fault. That exact experience, except he had sex with me 2 days after I reached the age of consent in my state. I eventually got him fired, Mom reported him when I was suicidal, and everyone in the school turned against me because he was the most popular teachers. It was terrible. I'm sorry that you had to go through that, and I hope it doesn't affect your life too much now. My first boyfriend, I was barely 15, he was 21. Worked in a local shop and all the girls at my school liked him, so came as a bit of a surprise when the biggest dork ever, me, somehow landed him and not any of the popular girls. We dated for maybe 4 months, turned out he was sleeping with 3 girls in my year, which I found confusing because I begged him to take my virginity to no avail. Always found that really weird and insulting that he never even wanted to sleep with me. Plot twist, my mom had stormed into the shop when we first started dating and told him, "If you take my daughter's virginity, I will kill you with my bare hands." God bless my mom. I was 14 and dated a 25-year-old cop. He never asked my age and I never told. One day we're chatting on phone and I told him that I got some homework to do and I'll call back later. He said, "Fresher year of college getting to you, huh?" I said, "College? I'm in high school." Dead silence, then he asked how old I was and I said 14. He freaked out and was saying, "I'm gonna go to jail for this and I'm gonna lose my job." He said, "I can't see you again and please don't tell anyone." I said, "Yeah, of course." I got why he was scared and I never saw him again and never told.